I think it might be recording because I see the red button. I just want to let you know that I don't like that camera. I hope one day I become friends with it, just like you. And videotaping myself is new for me, just like it is for a lot of us. Have you noticed that there's a lot of videotaping now and people recommend it for entrepreneurs? And the Periscope, that it's where it's live. There's no script, there's no rehearsing, you just do it live. You do it for a short period of time, maybe 10 minutes at the most. People have short attention spans, right? So they want to do Periscope, and then now Facebook has a live video and everything, and more Blab, and more is coming down the road. And the reason why it works so well is because when your audience is seeing you live, not rehearsed, not reading a script, not doing anything, they actually see you for who you are authentically. That's what audiences are craving nowadays. That's why my course is so important, is because we're going to just get rid of all those feelings of fear and all that kind of stuff. We're going to kind of like get rid of them. Then you can show up and be your true authentic self, exactly how your audience wants to see you. If you knew that, wouldn't some of your fears just kind of like go away? Just be you. Now, is there ever going to anybody show up in your audience that's going to say something bad about you? Yeah, it's going to happen. There's haters out there. We get to ignore them because they're not our audience. Who is it? Joyce or Michelle, you said the right people are going to show up and listen to your story. You know, that's true. The right people are going to show up. And the rest of them, you can block them off on Facebook real easy. I've done that. You know, my people do not need to hear that. And so that's what this is all about. Now, the first thing I'm going to teach you today, you notice a black dot up on the wall? Anybody notice that?
Yes.
Was this in your handouts that I gave you? Was Taco out on the handouts? Yeah. Did you understand it? Okay, now we're going to get practice it. So what Hakalau is, let me go over this again. This is from ancient Hawaii, the word Hakalau. And I even actually think that there's an island or a town that they've also named Hakalau at this point. And what Hakalau is it's called a learning state. That's what it actually originated from. And in NLP, we began to use it as the presenter state also. And now this is also taught to students in schools. And what happens when the students in schools can learn Hakalau and go into it easily, their grades improve. They learn more, they learn faster, and their recall of that information is even higher. That's why it works so well when you're a presenter to do that with, to use it with. So this whole poster I made because I was actually creating a YouTube video about Hakalau, and it's not posted yet. To be fully, completely vulnerable. I did a beautiful one. I practiced it like 100 times, and I finally got one that's really great. And my husband and I were looking at it and everything like that, and he says, "Honey, you spelled Hakalau wrong."
Oh.
So now I get to make a new one. But this time I'm going to make it with this microphone, because this microphone picks up it a lot better, and I hope it's picking up right now. So anyway, so I made this poster so that I'm standing right here in the video, and I'm like talking about Hakalau, and I got all my stuff right here. You always have to put your information, no matter what you're saying on the video, you have to put your information on there. And when you're speaking on Thursday, if you want to do that with this chart, you can do that. I will let you use this paper to write anything, you know, your information, just your name, your company name, anything you want, simple. And you notice how big it is. Simple and big. Not little, big, be simple. Got that? Okay. If you're ever in a place where you're going to do a video and you don't have anything like this, make sure at the end of your video you say your name and your company and or website, something very clear and easy, so people can find you. If you don't, you're wasting valuable real estate by not doing that. So that's why I have this. So that's what Hakalau is, learning the presenter state, and we're going to learn it right now, because it's the foundation of everything you're going to be saying and talking about from here on out. Now, you have gone in, everybody has gone into this trance state at one point in their time, naturally. But now I want to teach you how to do it so when you need it, you can actually go into it instantly. Got it? All right. So I want you to put all your books down. So we're going to try it now. And you notice the black dot on the wall. Now in your notebooks, I gave you some black dots. And those are for you to take them home and practice with. Put them all over your house, do whatever you want to with them. So that, because what happens when you can practice this enough, you can instantly go into it without a dot. You can instantly focus on almost anything. The key is that when you're looking at this dot is about 20 degrees up from your line of sight. And what that does physiology-wise is that when you raise your eyes, not your head, keep your head down, no, floor level. When you raise your eyes up to that level, your eyes you get to that point logically, where you're about to fall asleep at night in bed and your eyes start to roll up into your head. So we're kind of like helping your body relax by raising your eyes up. And when you stare at the dot, and you keep staring at the dot, go ahead, Michelle, stare. Focus on that dot until your whole body starts to relax. And as you're focusing on the dot, you begin to notice the wall that's around the dot. Until you begin to notice further out the speakers on the wall. Keeping your eyes on the dot. And as you expand your awareness and your vision all the way out, you begin to notice pictures on the wall. And as you expand your awareness all the way out to the sides, you may even see the walls on either side of you. And as you expand your awareness, you'll see what's on the ceiling, you'll see what's on the floor, you'll even begin to see the person next to you. And as you expand your awareness all the way around, you may even begin to see and hear and be aware of what is behind you. Until you're totally and completely relaxed. And from this place, you'll be able to learn easier, you'll learn faster, and you'll be able to recall any information that you need without any fear. So how was that? Yeah, you're all looking pretty happy and relaxed. So how was that?
I found my eye got tired of staring at that black dot. I wanted to turn my head and look at something else.
Yeah, exactly. And Joy said it's exactly what happens to most of us.
Yeah.
It's because if we do that, we will lose those thoughts that we have that we want to say. We let everything else in our world distract us. We're at cause. We're the ones that, if you're at the front of the stage, you're a leader. And by having this skill set, the skill set's so valuable. It helps keep you focused, and yet you energetically see the whole room. You see what's going on over here, but you don't let it take you away from what you need to say or what you want to say. That's control. So that's why, Lisa and I walked it with Lisa the other day because she was, for some reason, I've never seen her nervous before. And she was, I don't know, she was excited, she was...
Yeah, it's because I was in front of my peers. I can talk in front of strangers all the long day. But when I was speaking to the group that I lead and all speakers, by the way. So it's like, and then my mom was there on top of that, which is like, oh God, like just
Mom's lovely.
too much, So I was definitely getting overstimulated, and Johnny just was like, there was a room full of people, like 30, 40 people in here, and she just takes me right there and I luckily had already learned it once, but I forgot, which is why I was really glad we're learning it again today, because it's that repetition.
You did good. I didn't know you were nervous.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
you spoke. I didn't know you were nervous. Yeah. You recouped.
Well, because of this, so
Yeah.
I'm testament to you and just like
to
look me
Hawaii.
right in the space, and I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I need.
It's why I give you dots to take home. Because you can stick a dot on your wall and leave it there. And every time you see it, it's going to jar your memory that, oh yeah, you don't need a dot. You can do anything. You don't even have to raise your eyes, although that does help.
Just training.
It's, yeah, you can instantly. And a couple other exercises we're going to do is also going to help that. This is the foundation. This is the very first thing I always teach my speaking people. So every time you need coaching, call me up on the phone and you're just like, and I go, how come I haven't thought? Make my coaching easier. All right, so did everybody enjoy that? Did I get a gold star? We'll see after the end of the day. All right, the next thing we're going to do is, I have a notebook up here too that I'm going to follow with everybody so that we're all on the same page. Next thing, okay, so on page 4, I want to talk a little bit about highly sensitive people and how they use their traits, just a little bit. We can go into it further if you have any more questions. Like I even have, like I said, I have a little quiz you can take that will help show you maybe where you lie. And the quiz was created by Dr. Endearing. She was the research psychologist that came up with the term highly sensitive people back in the early 90s, and she wrote her best-selling book that's been translated in 20 different languages. These are highly sensitive people everywhere. They're about 20% of the population, 15 to 20%, depending on what's going on. And they're also found in other species, over 100 different species, insects, animals. So it's a trait. It's how we're born, it's how our brains are, and it's how we take in information, and also how we react to that information. Basically, highly sensitive people's brains take in information in a way that is deeper and longer lasting. They've actually done MRIs on people where they show them a picture in the MRI machine, and they actually see the brain light up in certain areas, and it stays lit up longer than the other, what we call the other 80%, which I use as a joke. Highly sensitive people have quirky sense of humors. And you ever found yourself where you told a joke, or it's not so much a joke, but you made a comical remark to something going on in the room, and there's people in there saying, I don't get it. So from now on, when that happens, you can turn and say, oh, that's okay, you're the other 80%. But really, when you're with other highly sensitive people, you relax, and you feel like, oh, I can breathe, because I don't even need to say anything, and you get me. I'm fully accepted. I could be quirky, silly, stupid, and everything, and people are like, and my people. I love it. So there's a lot of traits and everything. This little page I actually created right here for you is like We don't just listen to your words, but we also watch your face. We look into your eyes. Like, that's where we feel we can connect with people. We make note of how you use your words. We notice your tone of your voice. We hear deeply what you don't say. And by the way, that one right there is what's going to propel your business. When you listen to what they don't say, it's like, wait, she didn't say, or he didn't say, but I know it's there. It's hidden. We see all the hidden underlying things. And then what happens when you're talking to somebody about your business, you can ask them a question about what they didn't say. And then when you see their body language, their face change, things happen, you're like, oh, bingo, you hit the nail on the head. And they're going to look at you like, how'd you know that? So that right there is when you pay attention to what they don't say. Is it? I interpret your silence. And we're going to talk about silence later. When you heard the audio, when you listen to the audio, the hypnosis is to help you eliminate your ahs and ums and ands and so's and all those extra filler words that we don't need. You have to respect the silence. You have to understand that silence is there for a reason. And you have to make sure that it shows up. It has to be at the party. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more. Again, I checked your body language. And we all do this unconsciously all the time. And most importantly, we trust our intuition. Who here trusts their intuition? Yeah. It's like we can't live without trusting that. And sometimes we question it. Really? Are you sure I should be teaching this public speaking class? You know? Okay. Universe, gut, intuition, whatever it is. God, thank you. Okay, I'll do that. Okay, so we went through Hakulau. There's your pretty dots. What I did with mine, since I used a lot, I laminated it. So if you want to, you can have at it. Zig Ziglar, he's one of my most favorite people in the whole world, and wish he was still around with us. But he said amazing things and did amazing things before he passed away. And this is one of the most amazing things that I always come back to, is like, we can have everything we want in the world as long as we just help other people get what they want. And the trick is, how do we go about doing that? Like, we all have wonderful, beautiful gifts and stories, whatever, to give away. But how is that going to help someone get what they want? That's the little magical trick in being an entrepreneur. We have to figure out, how can I take this, all of my message, and help people get what they want? And then language your marketing around that. That's tricky. I've been playing with that for years, and it's also a flowing kind of like thing that just keeps changing because our audience changes. And we got to figure out, what does our audience need? Our world's changing right now. We have a demographics, populations that's changing. We've got the baby boomers, and then we've got the generations below that, Lord help us, they're in charge of our world. All right, we're going to talk about speaker declarations right now, and this is a little worksheet. And the answers are upside down at the bottom of the page. You need help.
They're actually right side up.
Are they right side up? Oh, I probably turned them around one of these times. Anyway, the importance of speaker declarations is because you need to know that what you have to say is of value. And when you declare something, doesn't it become more important? Like, what is it, Lucianne, that you can declare right here, right now? Don't look at the speaker page. Something about you and your life and your work or whatever. What can you declare that you know is true?
That I enjoy
Connect me to people?
There you go. And that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. So can you think of something that you can say that is new to you? That maybe something that you would like to have but don't have yet? That you can declare.
The ability to stand up in front of a group.
Okay.
Or you're talking more ancient or.
Okay. So did you guys all notice her tone of voice and how she questioned that?
Even I can notice.
Yeah, yeah. So, but once you change it into a declaration, then that's that. You know, you don't even have to change the words, but if you change it into a declaration, then it's done, it's over. It's done, sister. So, anybody else? Joyce, do you have something you want to declare that you know is true?
Yeah, I would say what I know true is that love is all there is, and love is what we need to pursue on.
How about you, Ms. Michelle?
That my work is very important to others. It helps empower them.
Lisa?
I speak with 100% certainty and emotional connectedness with my audience.
Do you want to try something that you're not sure about? Want to say something that, and try to,
Something
if
that
you're not sure.
something that I want in the future
Let's-
that I don't have yet.
Yeah, let's play with this. Let's
Okay.
say if it's something that you don't have yet,
Yeah.
and you haven't declared it yet, so let's say it with a declaration.
Okay.
Declare it, that it's true, even though it hasn't happened yet.
Okay.
Can you do that?
Yeah, one of the ones that I'm working on now, trying to be able to declare, is what is my worth and my value in terms of what I charge for my services. And I've always charged way below what people tell me I'm worth. So like someone told me last week, she says, I want you to start declaring that you're worth, what she said, $240 a session. And that was really hard for me to declare and even think about that I could show that I was charging that much for a session. So that's something I personally am working on. Can I declare that every day and believe that?
Can you, right now?
No. I'm still working on it. Yeah.
Okay, by the end of the day, okay. How about you, Michelle? Is there something?
That I have a successful business doing my SoulWorks work. It's been a learning curve.
Yes, yeah. Now, how you said it was it wasn't strong. It was a declaration, but it was still kind of soft. You saw the difference. Yeah. How about you, Lisa?
I declare that I earn $10,000 a month.
That's pretty strong. Okay, I want you to remember all that because when we get done, we're going to say it again. And you'll see, you'll notice the difference. All right? Okay, so speaker declarations. What's the first one? Who wants to read that? I have a little green squishy ball that I throw at people when I want them to stand.
So you want to read this with the correct answer down the bottom here?
Yes.
Oh, I have important knowledge to share.
Okay, so you want to toss that green ball to somebody else and just go to number 2?
Sure.
People love to buy my products.
Oh, say it a little stronger than that.
People love to buy my products.
Was there a question mark at the end of that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
People love to buy my products.
Very good. Much better.
I am a master networker.
That was very good.
I am the #1 expert in my field. Should we just keep rotating?
Yep. I got it.
I am a powerful presenter.
People love to, sorry. People love to give me money.
Oh, I want that one. color on that one.
And put a little bit more passion on that love word. People love
Yeah.
to give me money.
People love to give me money. I'll just say it again, just so it's okay. I am a confident and charismatic speaker.
Oh, I like this one. I earn a fortune powerfully speaking my passion.
Okay, very good. Okay, now we're gonna move on. Well, I should ask you that. How was that? Before I move on. How?
I can see where that'd be very powerful to say that every single day till you
Yeah.
actually believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what affirmations are.
Yeah.
That's what they are. And when you, this page right here, when you take this out of your folder, you fill it in, take this out of your folder, and you put it somewhere that you see all the time, like your bathroom mirror or your refrigerator for some of us.
And just what you pointed out, just noticing just slight changes in your tone of voice and where you emphasize the words
Yeah.
can show whether or not you really believe it or not.
Right.
You have to be aware of that.
Right. This is one of the things that Tony Robbins believes in all the time. This is one of the first things he teaches us is I am the voice. I am, I am. Every time you say I am, that actually imprints on your identity. So if you say I am stupid, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, you're going to believe that. That's going to become your reality. So it's really important, whatever you say after those two words, I am, is what you are and what your identity will become if you keep doing that over and over again. So when you change everything around to a more positive affirmation. And I got a little story about this, is like when I've been married 3 times, just to let you know. My 3rd marriage, my last marriage. And after my 2nd divorce, this was a good thing. This man turned out to be abusive, and I didn't know that. We were together 5 years before I married him, and we were married 4 years when, well, actually right after we got married, he started showing anger, and really for no reason. Where'd this come from? After 5 years, now all of a sudden you're angry. The cat crossed the street the wrong way. It's like, what are you so angry about? And he didn't like the fact that I was not supporting his anger. So I became his target. And after working with that for like 4 years, and it was getting worse, escalating, and I started reading about how things like when an abuser starts not hiding it anymore, all of a sudden the words and everything were coming out in public. That means that they didn't care anymore what other people thought, and you need to run like for your life. So when he started doing that, I'm like, that's it, I drew the line. So we divorced, and that was devastating to me, because this is my thoughts, my first marriage failed. So I'm going to try it again. Oh my God, the 2nd one failed. So what the hell's wrong with me? Kind of thing. All this stuff goes in your head. So, and at that point, I had already been in the Tony Robbins world about a year. So I kind of started to know some of this stuff already. And after he moved out, and after I kind of like cleaned up some stuff, found out that he was not paying the bills, cleaned up some financial stuff like that, and I go, okay, I got to feel better, and I got to do it fast. So I went online and I printed out every positive affirmation I could find on the internet, and I used it as wallpaper throughout my whole bedroom. Covered the walls, everything. And those stayed up, and I said, they're going to stay up forever. They're going to stay up as long as they need to stay up. And they stayed up. I think I started taking them down after about 4 months. Just a few. But I says, okay, I got that one. I can take it down now. And it took about 6 to 9 months before finally the last one came down. It was healing for me. But to see all those positive affirmations, they just, piled in on top of you, flooded my system to the point where, hey, that's what it took. I didn't need an expensive shrink. So that's why positive affirmations are very, very powerful. And so now the next one we're going to talk about is sales affirmation, because we're all in sales. We're all in sales, even though if you're an employee, we're all in sales. And what happens is sales has become a 4-letter dirty word to a lot of us. And to our customers that we're trying to sell to. Because of all the past used car salesmen in plaid jackets. They've ruined it for all of us. We have somehow, some way in our past been hurt by a salesperson. Taken advantage of, manipulated, told something that worked and didn't work, and all this kind of stuff. I'm at a point now that I won't buy anything unless there's a guarantee that I'm going to get my money back. And I will go ask for my money back. I have no qualms about that if I did not get what you promised. And even if there's no guarantee on it, I will ask for my money back. But I know how to do it in a way that I always get my money back. I'll share that with you. So there's a little NLP language in that. So anyway, this next affirmation is actually from, I'm going to tell you, I got this from Eric Laughlin. Anybody ever heard of Eric Laughlin? You have Lisa? Yeah. And he's a master. He used to work for Tony Robbins way back in the day. And he is a master at languaging in whatever we're doing to script it out so that we can say it in a way that works for us. And he worked for Tony in his sales, and he has a really long story in sales. And even after he quit Tony brought him back in to teach all his salespeople how to do this, how to speak what you need to speak. And we even have John Kurth in our group. He worked for Eric for a while. So anyway, every time we say something to a potential client or customer, we end up saying the same thing over and over again, don't we? Pretty much. You know, they ask the same questions, we answer them kind of the same way. That's your script. Now, if you find that you're not getting anywhere with that script, then you need to write the script down and re-engineer it so you do get the results you want. Pretty much, that's it. So it takes a little homework, a little work, and everything. But that's how we do this. So this sales affirmation came from Eric Laughlin because this is how he starts to begin to teach his students that you've got to be okay with sales. So who wants to say the first one? Who's got
I got the law, so I'll say it. Selling equals service.
So you all believe that whatever you're doing is of service to someone else. Truly, in your heart. You're really good at that. So it stands to reason that whatever you're selling is of service to somebody, right? You're not just selling marbles to children, you know, to adults. You're actually doing some service to somebody, right? So, okay, so let's say the second one.
Sell from honesty, integrity, and compassion.
We can't help to not do that, can we? We're sensitive people, and if you ask us to sell something that we don't believe in, are we going to be able to do it? No.
I worked at Xerox for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I am not a good salesperson in terms of copy machines because I did not care.
But
and I
we
hated
need copy
it.
machines.
I did not get it. I was not on board. It was like the worst 2 weeks of my life.
Yeah.
Well,
And the thing is, it's a copy machine. We all need copy machines, right?
we need them,
But the thing is,
it just didn't resonate for me.
if the company itself is not in integrity, we don't want to work for that company.
They were. I think it just wasn't a good fit. It just didn't mean anything. Like it didn't fill my soul, or like it didn't. It just wasn't.
Yeah.
Didn't mean
It
anything.
was
to me.
a thing, an
Yeah.
inanimate object,
Yeah.
and it really doesn't make that big of a difference to anybody.
No, it's not going to change it.
Okay, third one.
Selling is about leading.
Do you believe that?
Yeah.
I'd never thought about selling as leading.
Because I could walk up to you and say, Joyce, I have this speaker box that I'm selling. My company is very powerful and strong. It's been around a long time, and this really works for me. And I want you to buy this.
Okay, not interested.
See? That kind of language and everything is not leading you to understand that
Oh,
you
I see
need
what you're
this.
saying. Okay.
But if I change it, if I lead you into understanding that this is so
Mhm.
important for you that you need this,
Okay.
and what it's going to do for you, I'm leading you through that conversation. But first I have to find out if you really have a need for it. You can't shove it down your throat.
Okay. That sounds
Big
good.
black
I understand that.
So yeah, when you're selling, you're actually leading.
Okay.
Okay, what's next, 5?
4.
4?
Selling is about moving people to action.
Right. So if you're having to give a speech about what you've got and everything like that, and you've got people in the room that are just like, yay, I want that. You just led them into action. But if you get up and you speak and you say something to one person or to a room of people, and all of a sudden there's like, and you want to sell something, and a ticket or a bin, or just even to get their information or leads, and they don't do anything, then they're like, there's no action. So that's what that's about. Okay, so what's next?
Selling is fun.
That's an affirmation to believe.
Yeah, because I never put those two words together.
Joyce is like, is this a misprint? What's going on here?
Yeah. But so when you have a system and you know what you're doing and you know what you're saying and you're starting to get, people responding to that, then all of a sudden you're getting that, what, $240 an hour?
Yeah.
And you're like, it's not just believing you're going to get $240 an hour.
Yeah.
It's actually knowing what to say and when to say it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden isn't it fun?
And it'd be fun, yes.
Aren't you get handsomely rewarded for it?
Yep.
Okay, so what's next?
Selling is about connection.
It's about connection. So how many of you go to networking events? And how many of you get good response at those networking events?
I have not figured it out yet.
I don't watch networking events.
No?
Okay.
No, we're going to be talking about that tomorrow. So yes, people that go to those networking events are not connecting. And because of that, we're not connected. So what if we stepped into leadership with that connection piece? And you walked in and say, and with that whole affirmation of this is going to be fun, I'm going to connect, and I'm going to do this, and you take the lead, because you got a whole room of people in there that don't know how to network. They're doing it all wrong.
But I think it's so much easier. I mean, I do go to those network, some type of network in my field,
Yeah.
but I'm not selling. My purpose to go is to meet other people for future employments, per se. Just get to see exchanging business cards, that type of thing.
For employment for you,
For
for a new
Correct.
job, for you.
correct.
Okay, you still got to
You're
connect.
still selling.
Yeah, it's
But
just selling
is
yourself.
it? Okay.
Yeah, it's, yeah.
Because I guess so. I'm not selling a product. I guess it's just myself.
Yourself.
Yourself.
Yes.
Okay.
We're all
Yeah.
selling ourselves.
Yeah. Indirectly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like if you were there and drinking lots of wine and acting irresponsible and saying inappropriate things, you would be not selling yourself, right? Like, so you probably go and act professional and you're talking nice to people. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
so you're selling when you're at a networking event is business.
Correct.
Otherwise, you just hang out at home in your pajamas, right?
That's right. No, I was thinking. I was more thinking of selling an object
Yeah.
or something, but that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, what's next?
Selling, oh wait, no, we did that one.
The last one.
My intention is to embrace sales. All right.
Embrace the sales. Embrace the
Embrace
sales
it.
like they're your lover. Very good. Any questions on this? Any questions on this? Okay, like I said, we're going to talk about networking tomorrow. Because improper networking is, I just get so angry. actually, it pisses me off to the point where I have stopped networking. I've only been going to two. The one is the speakers network, and the other one is Good Old Girls.
Oh, yeah.
Because I have fun.
Yeah.
I have fun. So, regardless of whether I sell anything, it's important for me. If I'm going to take my time, my energy, and everything, I have to have fun. And this group of people, you know, I have fun with. So, now, saying that, starting next month, I'm going to start networking again. Because now I have this class to sell. And I'm not just selling my coaching anymore. I'm selling my classes. And of course, coaching goes with that, but it's a different place. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the presenters' presupposition. So I'm going to challenge you anyway. Fill this out, make it pretty, put flowers on it, do whatever, and post it, laminate it, and stick it somewhere so that when you wash your mirror, you're not going to mess it up. And this is going to be something that is your affirmations the rest of your life. So, presenters' presuppositions. What that is, anybody need a break? Good? Okay, we're going to power through this. I am trying to watch the time and so I can figure out. Starting this at 10:30. Trying to keep track of this. If I have an assistant, that's what the assistant's for, but I don't have one today. So. Presenters' presupposition. This is NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming. Everybody read what the information I sent home with, I emailed to you, so you kind of understand a little bit what NLP is, and it's how our brains are wired and all this kind of stuff. So, the presenter's presuppositions are: all learning, change, and behavior is unconscious. We walk around every single day, and everything we make, every decision we make, everything we do is done at the unconscious level. Virtually 98% of it is unconscious. Lisa knows this for sure. The other 2 to 10% or whatever it is conscious. Now, when you can kind of shift that a little bit and make a lot more things in your life more conscious decisions, then you will be consciously aware of what you're doing and why you're doing it to a point where you can actually shift your unconscious mind. Once it's in your unconscious, it doesn't change. It's automatic. It makes life easy because all of a sudden you know where the light switch is. In the dark, you can go over to that light switch and turn it on. Your unconscious mind knows where it is. If you keep doing the same thing over and over again. You want to make your life easy? Put your keys in the same place every single day. And your shoes and your everything else. Purse, put it. Because your unconscious mind knows exactly where it's at all the time. So, if you want to change anything in your life, be consciously aware of it so you can make those shifts and changes. That's why when you're presenting in front of the room, you're going to write a speech. And so that you can deliver it, and you're going to learn it so that it starts to become a piece of your unconscious. The outcome of the presentation is ecological. So when you're going to give a presentation or you're going to talk to anybody, that you have to be ecological to yourself, the person you're talking to the planet, to the world. It's ecological. Does that make sense?
That doesn't make sense to me.
The meaning of the word ecological basically means that it's good for everything.
Okay.
It's ecology.
Okay.
It's
good for all.
It's
basically.
yeah.
Okay.
So
Speaker, audience, world.
yeah. That it's good for you. That it's good for your audience. It's good for the world. It's good for the beach. It's good for the fish. It's ecological. Good for everybody. No haters. And here's the beautiful thing, is like once I start, and when I learn this, and I go, okay, I'm going to stand up no matter who I'm talking with, and I'm going to be the best version of me. And if somebody walks in, because this happens, it's happened to me before, it'll happen to me again, because once you step on to the stage and you're a leader, you might get somebody in the back of the room that's going to, or in the front of the room, that's going to heckle you. And you got to just stand there knowing that everything you're doing is ecological. Everything. And then let them do their little thing that they're going to do. Don't let it bother you. They're being a putz. And it doesn't have to bother you. And you can, and there's ways that you can deal with a heckler. Various ways. You can ask security to come and escort them out. There's various ways you can deal with them. That is ecological. Because what happens, you're up here, and somebody's over here is heckling and causing a problem, or they're being what we call a co-leader, a co-trainer. They're repeating everything you say and then some. And so it takes your power away from you when you got somebody sitting in a chair over here. And I'm trying to think of an instance when that last happened to me. I can't think of it.
I've had that where,
I've had that.
like, stuff, because I speak on, like, the mindset, and, you know, and so I'll have someone say, well, how, you know, they'll want to get into some deep philosophical, theoretical question about the unconscious, and it's derailing the whole
It is,
thing, just so they sound
Yeah.
smart and intellectual, and so that's probably been one of
Yeah.
the more common
yeah. They're feeling,
challenges I've had.
yeah, they're feeling insecure is basically what they are, and they need to make themselves feel great, so they do that. It's what kind of like the psychology reason why they do that. However, your whole audience is watching how you're going to handle it. And if you want to be powerful in your plays, you've got to show everybody in the room that this one little putz over here is not going to take your power. And there's lots of different ways you can do it, depending on where they're sitting in the room. Like you can actually, if they're sitting over here, you can actually walk over here. Remove yourself from them and do it this way. Kind of like still talk to the rest of the room, but not them. That's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is you can actually go up to them like this and say, put your hand on them and say, and then talk to the rest of the room. That'll ground them. They're getting their attention that they really were hungry for. That sometimes works. So, or you can do what Laugh Factory does, or the Comedy Central, and you can say, okay, so I heard about your mother the other day. You know? No, you don't want to do that. Unless you're really good at it. You see some of the stuff I've seen at Tony Robbins. God, the stories I can tell you. Okay, so the third one is that you're congruent with what you're teaching. So you're congruent, you absolutely believe in everything you're teaching. If there's one part of it that you don't believe in, don't teach it. So Lisa, if productive learning says, okay, Lisa, from now on you got to teach this one piece, and you're like, wait, no. You know, it's like, basically, you know, if your employer asks you to do something, like Lucienne, that might happen to you, you just kind of think, that's not going to work for me. So let's shift it around a little bit so it does work for me. Try to make it a win-win. Yeah. That you're always in control of the situation. You're always in control. And you do that with all kinds of different ways. Like you can do that with your voice. You know, think about it, when you're growing up as a child, which one of the parents in your home was in control? Mom or dad?
Mom.
And they had a voice, didn't they? And they would like lower the voice. And they would be like, Lucienne! So there's ways to use just your voice that you can control the room. There's a way you can use your body to control the room. We're going to go into that. That's what we're going to go into next. Way you use your body so that you are in control of the room. You can be in control of the room without saying a thing. And we're going to go into that. And last but not least, with preparation comes power. When we are fully and completely prepared for whatever can happen, that's power. Prepare for your speech, prepare for your talk, that's great. But when you're prepared for everything else, that also gives you power. Like when you go, we're going to be talking about this later too, about how to be prepared. If you get invited to go speak in front of somebody, how can you be prepared for that? And I got it all in your book. It's like even at the last minute, you know, I've been in this room multiple times, and there were still things that I'm like, I had to ask Lisa, can we have You know, is there going to be coffee? Is there going to be tea? Is there going to be a TV with a DVD? I had to kind of like follow up with her, which I should have done the very minute that I asked her if I could have this room a few weeks ago, and I didn't, so I had to follow up with her. But I have a list now. I have a list. So I'm learning as we go. Oh, by the way, I asked them not to, at first I thought we'd make coffee, but then I'm like, remember that little list I sent you? That if we drink coffee, it dries us up? So I said, take the coffee away. But there's lots of tea back there. If you want coffee, we'll get it for you. They do have it. Okay, now, we're going to talk, the next thing we're going to talk about is, it falls in the line of having that power and having that control from the stage. And we're all going to practice this. You guys are going to get up. We're going to talk about the presenter state. And this is what, you know, as we learned in Hakulau, this is zone. It's that zone that you're going to get into. And that expanded awareness, that learning state. And so we're going to go into Hakulau. I'm going to do two things at once. Because you guys are really, really good at the Hakulau, so I'm going to put two things together, okay? So we're going to do the presenter state and the energetically breaking the fourth wall at the same time. But first, before we do that, I want to share with you how your posture makes a huge difference. And if you turn to page 11, you see a little tin man there. And so when you're standing up in front of the room, I want you to notice that, like the Tin Man, everything is stacked in your body. Everything is stacked one on top of the other. If I lean one way or the other, all of a sudden, you get the impression I really don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe I might do this, or I'll go back, and I'll this way, and I'll fall over. Your words can't be powerful from that place. Now we're women, and we have feminine energy. And even men have feminine energy, we all do. So what we do is we tend to use our feminine energy to manipulate the crowd by doing this. It's distracting from your message when you do that. Now, there's ways to act natural. I don't want you to stand like a statue. But what I do want you to do is practice this stature so that you can easily go into it. And then when you notice as you're talking and you're kind of like enjoying the crowd and you're just kind of like maybe going up here and putting your hip out or like this, and when you're saying something that needs that body language, you get to do it and it's natural. Does that make sense? But then when you're done with that part, you have to come back up again. This is your anchoring, your basis and your anchoring place. Is that when you always go back to this. You start here, and then you go back to this. Like if you're moving around, and you know, men do it too. You know, you see them do it too. They'll sit, their hands are in their pocket. That's okay. That's why my whole thing is authentic speaking. We want you to be your authentic you and use your body. And use your hands and use your head and everything you want to use. That's you. But if you use it at the wrong time, it's going to take away from power of your message. Or you're going to distract people. Like if I did this the whole time, talk with my hands like if you're Italian or something, you'd be like... Now if my audience was all Italian, I could do that. That's very normal for that culture. If my audience, I was talking to Italian restaurant owners, that'd be normal, right? But for most audiences, it's very distracting. So you have to practice doing like what you see the TV announcers on TV. What are their hands are like this, or like this, and they're away from body parts. They're not like this. So anyway, I want you to stand up, and we're going to practice this posture. And there's a little exercise I want to teach you too.
Feels like it's getting pretty cool in here, so if you just
If I get super warm, I'll let you know.
yeah.
So anyway, no matter if you're wearing heels or not, you can still, lean back on your heels, and bring your chest up, boobs out. Okay, now here's a little trick. Bring your shoulders up to your ears, back, squeeze your shoulder blades back, and drop them down. That is when you're stacked. Does it feel unnatural?
Yes.
Keep practicing it, and it won't. And you keep practicing it that way. Because I see all of you, oh my gosh, you're all strong. Really strong. And feet shoulder width apart. Bring your feet out, shoulder width, yeah. Now, do you feel like no matter what happened, I could come up and push you and you wouldn't topple over, would you? You want to test it? You're all pretty strong. So if you stood, if you practice that, and that's how you do this, before you go on stage, do this and drop them down.
It feels so stiff to me.
It-
It feels very stiff.
It does, it does,
like
because your
Yeah.
body's not used to this.
Yeah.
Now there's one more little exercise that you can do, because what happens is in normal life, we end up doing this, right? This is tight, this is loose. What you want to do is the opposite. You want to loosen this up and tighten this. And how you want to learn a little movement? It's a little bit like yoga, but when you do this a little every day, it's cool. Feet about shoulder width apart. Lean back on your heels. Okay, stick your butt out. Stick your butt out like this. Okay? Then I want you to take and lean forward a little bit. Put your hands back behind you like this. Open your fingers and stretch down to the floor. Knees bent. Bend your knees. Bend your knees. Now you lean back on your heels. Lucianne, bend your knees. There you go. Lean back. Now do you feel a pull in the back of your legs when you do that? Okay. Do you feel a pull in your back when you do that? Okay, now pull, stretch, 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 stretch. Now when you get really good, bring your arms forward like this, over your head. And how's that feel? You feel that in your back? Okay, now bend over and touch the floor if you can. You have to bend your knees. Keep the weight on your heels. You feel that pull in the back of your legs? Okay, now slowly come up and touch your shins. Keep your back flat. Stick your butt out, Lucianne. Stick your butt out, keep your back flat. Up to your knees. Back up again with your arms behind you and stretch, stretch, stretch to the floor. And then put your hands over your head. Over your head. There you go. Stretch your fingers out. Okay, now relax, shake it out. So what that does is it strengthens all of this up here. All of this. And it pulls and stretches all this. This is so tight right here that we have no choice but to not stand up straight. So you do that every day, and what happens, you're actually supposed to hold each position 15 seconds. And when you get stronger and stronger and stronger, and then also what opens this up and stretches this out is, do you ever lay on your stomach on your bed? Anybody ever sleep on your stomach? If you do that, just practice this at home because you want to stretch this open. Put 2 pillows on your arms. Lay on your belly. Put 2 pillows on your arms, and so that you can breathe. And lay on your belly, and your arms have to be up like this when you're doing it. Actually, do it on the floor too with blocks. If you have some blocks you can put under your arms. So you do this, and when you do that every day, just lay there for 10 minutes, 2 minutes, whatever it is. It opens this up. So that this, all of a sudden now, you can do this, and it feels natural. Now, how I had to learn this about 5.5 years ago, I blew my back out. And I've been healing and going through all the processes in the last 5 years of healing all this. I mean, it's like really bad. Neurosurgeons, like, I don't know how you're walking, so walking. So I've had to learn certain exercises to strengthen certain parts of my body that were weak. Because when my back was injured, I couldn't do anything but lay around to let that part heal. So I lost a lot of muscle everywhere. So I had to build that strength back up again. And I learned this one, it's a series of exercises that you're on the floor and everything, and it's part yoga, but it's part not yoga. These two guys created it, and it's amazing. So I have to do this to build up that strength and keep it. But what I found is that now, if I showed you pictures before, I had a big hump right here. I was like, my head was forward like this, and I was like rounded. Does that look like a little lady with a hump? Okay. This was normal for me. And people would ask me, stand up straight, and I go, I am. But now, because of the series of exercises, now this hurts. Now this hurts, and so now this is normal. And when you're on stage, you ever notice when somebody's on stage and they're like, trying to talk to you like this? And you're like, why can't they, their words aren't powerful. It's like, why is Jeb Bush not running for president? The people did not believe his message. Because if you look at his body language, he's walking around like this. Physiology always comes first. Always. So if you want your message to come across powerful, that you really know, congruently know what you're saying, you got to change your body. So I'm going to invite you to start doing this every day so that when you're standing there, this is normal, natural. This is powerful. This is proud. You're proud about what you're saying.
I used to, I had a lot of shoulder problems, so I would put, if I walked to a doorway, I'd put one hand on one side and then just sort of stretch in with that.
That's another way to do it, yeah.
Like to kind of open up that area.
Yeah, stand there. You can even do it.
That's more common.
You can even
do it anywhere.
in a corner, like a corner. If you put,
Yeah.
I learned this in physical therapy when I first started therapy. You put your hands on either side of the corner and you lean into the corner. That'll do it too. Anything that stretches this, and you hold it for a minute. I swear, time it. When you time it, you're like, after 20 seconds, you're like, isn't it a minute up yet? Yeah, stay for a minute. Yeah. Okay, so now that you know what that is, what we're going to do is each one of you are going to practice what we call energetic. You're going to do 3 things at once. Can you do that? Yay.
For women, we can do that.
Yes. The presenter state, you're going to do that, which is the hakulau. Then you're going to do this posture, and then we're going to energetically break the 4th wall. Now, why don't you have a seat for a second? Now in theater, anybody have theater background?
Well, so if we count high school.
In theater, they call it the 4th wall. And basically, we have a wall behind us, and we have 2 walls next to us. The 4th wall is the wall between us and the audience. So when you're up on stage and you're talking, you're up in front of people and you're talking, you have to break that wall so that people really feel the connection with you. And when you feel that connection with them, you come alive. So it works both ways. So we're going to practice this today. And you're not going to say anything because words mean nothing at this point. But what we're going to do is you're going to go in, each one of you is going to get up here and stand up here, and I'm going to demonstrate this. And you're going to stand here, and you're going to go into hakulau, and you're going to stand straight, and you're going to just put your arms down, relax, and you're going to energetically feel and express to each person in the audience. And you're going to do this to a point where even if I'm looking at Lucian, Lisa's going to feel my energy. It doesn't take long. It may take you a little while the first time, but then after you get doing it, and all of a sudden you just, and then what I want the audience to do is that when you feel this person's energy, I want you to just kind of like raise your hand. And then when you feel it powerfully, the hand goes up a little higher. When you feel like you're losing it, the hand comes down. And that's a little feedback that you're going to get. And this energy, our hearts are connected. Our hearts are energy. And our hearts are connected to everybody all the time if we let it happen. And that's what we're going to tap into, that piece of energy. So, you want me to demonstrate it first, or do you want to dive right in? Like right now, do you feel my energy right now?
I'm kind of lost.
I find for me, I can sense people's energy more when my eyes are closed.
You can close your eyes.
If it's okay, yeah, because when I'm visually looking at it, it's harder for me.
Is there anything you don't understand?
No, it's just I get it intellectually what you're saying, and then but this is my challenge. This is my piece where I'm like, sometimes I'm in the zone and I can feel it, and then
Okay, so purposely go into the
Sometimes.
zone.
okay.
What did I teach you this morning? Purposely go into the zone. Purposely go into the zone.
Okay.
Whether I'm looking at you or not, see if you can feel it.